Are you, like me, a big fan of clerics? And are you, like me, a big fan of those types of clerics that really stand in the front line and do everything that they can and put all their resources in protecting their allies and beating their foes? Well, I got good news for me, because I created my very own cleric subclass on the Dungeon Masters Guild called the Sacrifice Domain. So you might have noticed that I'm really excited to share this one with you guys, because I had this thing, this ID, this half-baked subclass on my computer for ages. It has been an idea in my head and partly on my computer for a very long time, and I never really knew how to finish it and how to turn it into a module worthy to put on the Dungeon Masters Guild and ask a little bit of money for you guys to enjoy. But then I got JVC Perry himself. Yes, I got JVC freaking Perry himself to help me finish it, to help me, I don't know, to just give me tips and tricks on how to finish it, and he actually wrote parts of it, and it just blows my mind that JVC Perry helped me with it. On one hand, I know he's like a very down-to-earth, friendly, good guy, but on the other hand, he needs to make a living, and he makes a living out of creating, and I know that creating with me will not make him a millionaire by far, but still he did it, and I'm really grateful for that. Now let's get right into it. The Sacrifice Domain is of course a cleric subclass by my brain, put on paper by me and JVC Perry. Well, on digital paper, because it's a PDF on the Dungeon Masters Guild, and it will set you back $2.99, and it has some of the coolest artwork, maybe the coolest cover on the Dungeon Masters Guild right now. Anyway, the Sacrifice Domain is all about those kinds of clerics that go into the front line and really try to lead by example by beating the living crap out of their enemies, and also helping and guiding and aiding their allies in the process. And it's all about sacrificing parts of yourself and being so committed to your party or to your cause or to the greater goods that you're willing to sacrifice parts of yourself to get done what you need done. And that's what I think is really cool about it. First of all, one of the most important mechanics of the Sacrifice Domain has to be the tunnel vision feature, which he gets on 3rd level, where you can basically spend your own hit points. You can give up your own hit points and you can add them to damage. That's basically it. There's a few rules that come with it, but that's basically it. You get your own hit points and you put that towards damage. So if you hit a creature, you put that towards damage, and but you have to sacrifice your own hit points. And the same thing goes with healing. If you heal a ally, you can use your own hit points to create a more powerful healing spell, which I think is so cool, because this gives like a very high risk, high reward type of thing. And I absolutely love high risk, high reward. I mean, I had a person say, isn't this like extremely powerful? If you're like standing in the back and you keep healing people and you keep spending your own hit points, and every now and then you heal yourself, or you just stay at 1 hit point and then you go to the back and you do some basic spell casting or stuff like that. Isn't this too powerful? And although it sounds very powerful, giving up your own hit points, first of all, can be very dangerous. I mean, if you have like 30 hit points and you give up 15 hit points to revive the party's fighter, and then you get like a crit by somebody and he does 16 damage, there you go, you're dead. You should have survived that because you had 30 hit points, but you only had 15 because you spent 15. So it's a very dangerous thing to toy with. And also something I did to really balance it out is that everything is touch and melee based. So you can only spend your hit points when you hit a creature with melee. It's like, that's why I call it tunnel vision. It's, you start fighting and you start throwing yourself into combat like a crazy half barbarian kind of dude, and you go completely reckless, so you lose your own hit points, but you actually do more damage. But you need to do that melee, so close up, you need to stand in the front line. Same thing goes with healing. You need to use touch healing. So if you cast a healing spell that uses touch, that's the only time you can use your hit points to make the healing spell more powerful. So I try to balance it out that way. So I really try to put this dude in the middle of like the combat, in the middle of the action. It's really that kind of cleric that just puts on some heavy armor, takes a battle axe or I don't know, a mace or whatever, and just a shield and rushes into combat and starts beating the crap out of everybody, and ends up having very few hit points at the end of the process. Another feature that I think is really cool is a feature where on a higher level you can spend your hit die. Your hit die actually become a resource at some point when you play this class. You can spend your hit die to have people re-roll a saving throw. So if somebody fails a saving throw, you can spend your own hit die to make those people re-roll that saving throw. Spending hit die is one of those things, like in combat you're like, here, have a hit die. Here, have another hit die. Got enough of these hit dies. I'm level 11. I got 11 hit dies. But when you're really dungeon crawling and you're doing a lot of short rests within the same dungeon crawl, it also can become very dangerous on the long run, because having no hit die to actually recover can become very dangerous in the long run. So I think it's cool, and it's actually JVC Perry who came up with the idea of using hit die. He was like, I've always had the idea to spend hit die on something, on saving throws or whatever, but I never really did anything with it until, so now I saw the sacrifice class, so it really clicks with the sacrifice domain. So I was like, yeah, that's a freaking good idea, let's create that. And we created that. At another point in the domain, you can even use your hit die to create spell slots. You have to give up a certain amount of hit die, and there's a lot of them you have to give up to create spell slots all the way up to level 5. So if you're in this, when you're in this long boss fight at the end of a campaign, you can really throw everything out there. You can like really start creating spell slots to really just keep healing people and keep doing all kinds of crazy cleric stuff. So I think that's such a cool feature. It's called Blood to Mana, which is a very cool title. I've had some people tell me that it looks like a great feature. Of course, it's a higher level feature, but it's just such a great thing to have. Like when you're level 20 or 18 or whatever, and you're fighting the big bad guy of the campaign, and you can really stretch it out by keep creating hit points, spell slots and everything, but you're losing hit points, you're losing hit dice, you're doing everything you can to keep the party alive, and that's the sacrifice domain, and what I think is really cool about it. Then there's something I want to talk about and don't really want to talk about. It's the channel divinity, and I'm already gonna say it's called Sacrifice Self, and it does a lot of damage to every creature and every object around you. So what do you get for your $2.99? Well, you get a cleric subclass called the Sacrifice Domain with a very cool cover art and interior art by Dean Spencer. The cover art is by Dean Spencer, a very great artist, and it's actually, I think the cover is very cool and the inside is very cool. I mean, it's very well written because JVC Perry helped me with it. I'm not a writer. I'm trying to become something of a writer. I'm just somebody that has brain farts, and I'm like, I want this, I want this, I want this, let's write this together. And I write all the stuff, and then he rewrites, and then I rewrite everything. It's very well written. It's not perfect. I mean, I created it so I cannot see its flaws, probably. I'm just too excited to see its flaws at this point. Probably in half a year I will look back on it and I'm like, what did I write? What's that? So I want you guys to go to the Dungeon Masters Guild, link in the description below, and download it. I know it's $2.99 for one subclass, but see it as a support Mr. T thing, because if you download it, I get a little bit of money, JVC Perry gets a little bit of money, and we would be very grateful. If you want to support the channel and you don't just want to give me money and you want to have something in return, but you also don't want to become a Patreon supporter or whatever, if you want to support me and buy me a cup of coffee, make sure to go to the link in the description below, download it, and leave a comment right here on what you think, and also leave a review on the Dungeon Masters Guild, because I really want to know what you think about the Sacrifice Domain for the Cleric by me and JVC Perry on the Dungeon Masters Guild. So yeah, that was my overly excited video about the Sacrifice Domain, which I created and put on the guild. My very first official work that I put in the guild, and I'm so excited, and I really want people to like it. I really want people to grab it and to tell me what they think, and I'm already thinking about new stuff to create for the Dungeon Masters Guild. If you like my videos and if you want to see me continue with this channel, with my reviews and my player tips and whatever, everything I do, make sure to click that subscribe button and that bell button. And if you really want to support me, make sure to pick up the Sacrifice domain on the Dungeon Masters Guild, link in the description below. I hope your inspiration may guide you.